I've had a question in this week, and I thought it was a really useful question that some of you will also be interested in. So I thought I'd come onto a live and just give you a bit of information about the way this steam release comes out of the Instant Pot Mini. And if we've not met, I'm Susan from Cooking and Calm, and nice to see you here today. And hello to those of you watching the replay. But basically, what I'm all about here is finding ways to kind of keep it calm in the kitchen and especially keep it calm around these Instant Pots because they can be such a great help to make cooking easier. But they are also a bit scary, I know, especially if you haven't pressure cooked before. So if that's you, I see you, we've all been there. It's frightening for everybody, for all of us at times. And things like the pressure release is probably the major thing that worries people. So this question I had this week was someone thinking about getting the Instant Pot Mini forecourt, this one, and wondering if when they release the steam on the quick release, whether that's going to ruin their kitchen cabinet. So is there a way of kind of placing it so that the steam, instead of going directly into the kitchen cabinet, might be able to be pointed towards the extractor fan above the hob or the stove top? So it's a fantastic question. I haven't got permission to mention a name here, so I'm not going to mention a name, but I'm really grateful for the question. I think some of you will be too. Um, so, three things I want to say to you. The first thing is that with an Instant Pot, although the best thing about it is the pressure cooking, we're really often not actually using that scary old quick release that everyone's worried about. And for the vast majority of things that we cook in the Instant Pot under pressure, we use something called natural pressure release. And natural pressure release is where the Instant Pot kind of finishes its pressurized cooking, and then we don't touch it at all. We just leave it alone, and it very gently lets away the steam over 20 minutes, depends on what you've got in there. But over a little while, that steam will just diffuse out. And in that case, you can barely see the steam and you're not going to damage your kitchen cabinets. So if you think about the things that we're often making with the Instant Pot, it might be like a chili or a stew or cooking some porridge. Steel cut oats is one of my favourites. And all of those things, we don't need to even touch the quick release. We're just letting them settle. And if you think about when you're cooking on the stove, that often you're just letting things bubble away for a long time, and the longer you leave them, the tastier they get. So same with the Instant Pot, we can just let it naturally release. We're not needing to kind of shock the meat or shock the vegetables. We can just leave them sitting there, and eventually you'll see the pressure drop, and you'll be able to tell when to open the lid by the fact Instant Pot tells you, and the pink pin on the top will drop. So that's the first thing to know, is that actually, although pressure cooking is really the most important thing about Instant Pots, pressure cooking and quick release is not the same thing. Quick release is when we need to press the button on the top and get that pressure out quickly. And when we're doing that, mainly is when we're cooking things that are very sensitive and we need to get them out quickly. So if I'm soft boiling an egg, I need to get that steam out quickly, or it's going to turn to rubber if I just leave it for 20 minutes. Same if we were steaming some fish, and same if maybe you're kind of doing a dish where you've done the main dish, and then you want to take the lid off, maybe add some greens or some broccoli and just give them 0 or 1 minutes cooking, add back the lid and go to pressure. But you might use quick release then. But a lot of the time, as I say, like for me, and please chime in if you've got an Instant Pot, we're not using quick release, we're using natural release a lot of the time. So that is point number one. Point number two is this Instant Pot Mini forequart, Rio Classic, depending on what country you live in, but this kind of beautiful little thing. It's it's an entry-level Instant Pot, and the entry-level Instant Pots do have more sort of more like the old manual Instant Pots in terms of their pressure, so that the pressure, we press a button and the pressure comes out of here, and it is quite fierce. So I'm not going to lie, when I first started using this again, after I'd been using some of the more pro models, I did get a shock. I was like, ooh, it really does give that. So know that that is perfectly normal. And yes, if you do have this right under a kitchen cabinet, you don't want that steam to be going right up into the bottom of your cabinets, because I think it probably will cause damage. So most of us are pulling out the Instant Pots to release the steam. And the third things to know, and this is a bit of magic really about this one. I mean, firstly, it's a very safe steam release, in case you haven't seen me talking about this before. You press the button down here and the steam release comes out up here. So your finger's miles away from where that steam comes out, which is a big improvement on some of the older models. Ooh. But the magic bit that I wanted to share with you is that with this particular Instant Pot, if I turn it round, I hope that you can see, this is where the steam is going to come out. So, and there are the kind of holes at the top where the steam will come out. And when I click here, I want you to watch right here when I do this. So when I click steam release, this pushes backwards a little bit. So let me do that again. See if I can get it a bit closer for you. So keep an eye on here. So if you see, this weight pushes back that way, and that means that for this model, the steam comes out fiercely, but it comes out on a slight angle towards the back, sort of sideways and up rather than directly up. And what that means is that if you've got your Instant Pot next to your hob, as I usually do, it's normally sitting here. So if I've got it there, what I can do is twist around the Instant Pot before I release the steam. And if I twist it so it's facing my extractor fan, which is up here in this case, I'll put that blinding light on, the steam comes out just slightly on an angle, which means that the extractor fan, especially if you've got a venting one, you know, a powerful one, the steam will go up into that extractor fan. So I should say that you might think, well, why don't you just put it on the hob? Instant Pot advises against that, and I will say, and I know not everyone agrees with me, but I hear from lots of Instant Pot users on this, if you put your Instant Pot on the hob itself, there's a big danger someone might turn it on and melt your Instant Pot, break it, cause a fire, all the rest. They're not meant to be sitting on the hob itself, and some people have all kinds of ways of dealing with this. But for those of us who just got our standard hob in the middle, extractor fan above, you can still have your Instant Pot on the side, but know that this will tip back a bit and you can see that steam going up. So I hope that is a bit reassuring for those of you who are thinking of buying one. We're always pulling them out to release the steam anyway, pulling them away from the cabinets. So even for those that go straight up, as long as you've got kind of fairly deep cabinetry, you can pull it out. Things are much more difficult if you're in a mobile home, you're in a camper van, all of that. But I know that everybody has ways of dealing with things when you're used to working in small spaces. But it is very manageable at the end of the day. So I hope that's helpful for you. And I'm going to be talking tomorrow in a live at 5 p.m. UK time on Friday, that'll be Friday the 20th of Feb. I do my vertical Q&A, and I'm going to actually talk about the different steam release mechanisms. So expanding a bit on today and showing you some of my other Instant Pots and how they release the steam, what direction it goes in, how some of them have clever little gadgets on there. So if you want to know more about this steam release, join me for that live tomorrow. But in the meantime, May your kitchen be calm and your food always be good.